Well, hello. Today we're going to look at this root over rock Trident Maple. I just unwrapped it and I figured, well, I got a few seconds before I have to do something else. And I guess a viewer pointed out that using a water hose and cleaning off the roots is one of the things that is typically done. And I commented that with certain trees of certain age and what my end purpose for the tree is, I don't take the core of the root ball all the way down to bare root. But on this, because I'm actually going to replant it into a shallow container and I want the roots exposed, I will wash the roots on this to expose the upper root system. Now the lower roots on that I kind of want to keep intact, but if they're completely stripped, that's fine too. And so at this point I'm just going to go ahead and shoot this, and if I like the way the roots are, I'll continue on with the repot and leave it at that, let the roots harden off. But if I don't like the way the roots look, then I'll rewrap the roots and get them tighter around the rock. So hang on. The roots on this particular tree is, I think I might have had this on here for 2 seasons. The tree itself is a seedling that I grew right here from my own tree. And right now this tree itself is 12 to 15 years old. And where the base of that root is, or the trunk of the tree is, there is actually a ledge there on that rock. And then the rock protrudes out again. And right there, I secure it with a cotton string. I use cotton or raffia under the soil most of the time, but if I'm going to expose the roots in relatively short period of time, I'll even use electrical tape. But if I'm concerned about girdling and any issues like that, I'll just use the raffia and or cotton string, because they both will break down. And not cause any serious issues. Now, even the tape itself, the electrical tape, typically will expand, and the adhesive will give way after a period of time. And that's one of the reasons I use the electrical tape versus wire or some kind of synthetic string. Okay, I'm going to see what this looks like. I've got an excellent mass of roots, and there are a few good leaders. So for right now, what I'll do is go ahead and change containers, and what I'll do is rewrap this and allow the larger roots to continue to grow through this season, and then next season I'll revisit this to thin out the roots and make more of a decisive inspection and a choice of roots that I'll keep. One second. You know, one thing I tell people, no matter what I say, my words are not definitive. There are always other options. There are always other choices to be made and other ways of doing things. And I pretty much try every technique that I can devise or that I come across, so that when I speak to people, I know what I'm talking about. I don't just simply see something or read something and say, oh, you need to try this. No, I need to try it, so that when I do speak, I speak with authority. And that's from knowing what I've experienced rather than what I've heard or seen. So this is my first choice of pots. I've already prepped it. So I've got an oval pot over here on the right and a rectangle pot. And that's to look at the rectangle pot. You know I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know the difference between rectangle and oval. But here's this look. And personally, I like this better. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to set this down into this pot, and we'll see what happens from there. Now the question might be, why didn't I cut those bottom roots completely off? Well, right now I'd rather have the energy of that complete tree. Basically, I just want to look at something that looks better than the container it was in. Plus it'll give me a advanced look at the future for this particular plant. So now I'll get all of the vigor that this tree can muster, and I'll go from there. Again, I'm going to rewrap the roots there and allow the down roots to be tightened up a little more, because I actually just washed soil out between the rock and the roots. The tree itself is pretty stable on there, so I have some pretty good adhesion to the rock, but I want to tighten it up a little more. And so probably next season, or I could give it 2 seasons, with good care, I'll have what I want in the roots coming down and even around the rock, and then I'll work from that point. And at that time also, I'll do more branch selection on the top. In fact, I may even reduce some of the branches, you know, in the next few days. I'm actually doing this today because I'm bored, and I've got an appointment to go to in a little while, so I'm killing time. It's colder in my house than it is outside on this day. And so that's about it right now. And if you see the trees in the back, the big one in the pot is a Weigela. I call it Weigela. And the other is a honeysuckle. And they've been potted up for a while. The Weigela, as I say, Weigela, is pretty close to 20 years old. I took a cutting a number of years back and just stuck it in the ground, and that is the original base of the cutting. And of course, I've started many other plants from that, including this little batch over here that has blooms on it in some cases right now. You can see right there. Let me go this way, away from the sun. See that right there. And I just potted these up, so they've got a way to go before I get some branch development on them and fill them out more. And of course, there's a smattering of other things here. Honeysuckle. This is a Homestead purple rose. Beautiful color. Too bad it only blossoms once a year. So anyway, that's my movement right there, and I will clean this up, get that all watered in, and off to the next thing I go. All right, have a good day.